Hi guys, this is me, Rusty78609 in Central Texas, USA, in my luxurious travel trailer in Central Texas, USA. It's 1:20 p.m. on July the 27th, 2017, and it is hot and dry. We haven't had any rain either. But anyway, having said that, what I wanted to touch on today was camping in Texas. You know, that's something I've never touched on before, and of course, and the reason is I rarely go camping in Texas. I rarely do. I've been out to Big Bend a few times, Guadalupe Mountains National Park a few times, but other than that, not much. And the reason is because I usually go camping, or I did and still do most of my camping in the spring and summer. And in spring and summer in Texas, it can be pretty hot. In fact, summers are out. A lot of people do go camping in Texas in the summer because you can go to some of these state parks on the weekend and they'll be packed and it'll be 103 degrees. But you know, they're a lot younger than I am, and some of them are in RVs and some of them are in tents, and some of them are using little window air conditioners in their tents. I've seen them. But anyway, basically what I wanted to touch on, for those of you that are thinking about coming to Texas in possibly the fall and the winter, particularly, we get a lot of winter Texans, or snowbirds that we call them, and they come through and usually go down to the valley, Harlingen, McAllen, Forest, San Juan, Alamo, Del Rio, Brownsville. A few of them stay at resorts in Central Texas and places, and a lot of them volunteer at Texas state parks as camp hosts and so forth to pay the rent, so to speak. But if you came to Texas to go camping at a Texas state park, of course you can go to the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, TWPD website, or just look for do a Google search for Texas state parks and you can find it real easy. And of course it has all the information like every state does. But one of the things Texas doesn't do that some states do, I know New Mexico does it, even if you're an out-of-state resident, you can get an annual pass that waives the entrance fee, and also if you just tent camp with no hookups, it's free. I think in New Mexico it's $225 a year, and a lot of snowbirds go to New Mexico for that. And that's why sometimes in the wintertime it's hard to find a state park in New Mexico that's not too crowded. But in Texas, you can get a senior pass. I'm not sure if it's available to out-of-state residents. It didn't say, or I didn't see it. But it's free for people over the age of 65, and you get half off on the entrance fee. In Texas, at the state parks, you got two fees: the entrance fee and the camping or campsite fee. It's not just one fee. If you're over 65, you can get a permit. I know you can if you live in Texas. If you live out of state, I don't know, but you can check. And you get half off on the entrance fee. Most of the entrance fees are around $6, so it would cost you $3, saves you $3. But the average for hookups, now this is average, I just went across a whole section of parks and looked at their fees for camping with water and electric, and then with no hookups. And now there are some state parks, of course, in Texas that have what are called full hookups, water, septic, and electric. And there are some parks that also have Wi-Fi, and I'll expand on that in just a minute. But first up are the full hookups. Mainly you're going to run into state parks in Texas that have water and electric. Now if they have water and electric, usually they have a dump station. And several of the state parks in Texas will allow you to stay by the week, and they'll give you a weekly rate, which is usually 1 day free. In other words, if you stay 7 days, you only pay for 6, so that can save you a few bucks there. And also there are a few state parks in Texas that will let you stay by the month, and you just have to pick the area you want to go to, call those state parks, and ask them about that weekly and monthly rate if you're going to stay long term as a snowbird or winter Texan or whatever you're doing, or just traveling for a long time. Again, the entrance fees average about $6 per park. Some of them are 5, some of them are 3, but expect to pay 6 if you don't have the senior pass. The tent sites, pretty much all of them are going to be, that's with the sites with no hookups. Usually there's water available. At some of them there's not even water, but I'd say more than half of them will have a water spigot somewhere that you can get to. And but the tent sites will average about $10 a night. So with the entrance fee of $6, you'd be paying $16 a night. For me, of course, I'd be paying $13 because I get half off on the entrance fee. Now, there is a list of state parks on the home page that show the ones that have Wi-Fi available. Now, of course, most of the state parks you're going to be camping at in Texas will have cell phone access. So if you have a cell phone with a hotspot feature, you'll be able to access the internet with no problem. But if you don't, then you're going to be using the Wi-Fi if you're going to access the internet. And again, they do have a list, but what my recommendation there is, if it shows on the list that they have it, before you make the reservation, and a lot of these sites are by reservation only, call the state park and ask them, first up, do they have Wi-Fi? Is it working? How far from the park office can I be? Because that's what happens. A lot of people think that it covers the whole park, and some of them don't. Some of them you almost have to be parked in the building to get the Wi-Fi that's there, because it doesn't go more than 50 feet around the building, and that's it. And also be aware that the Wi-Fi service available at some of the state parks can be terribly slow. All right, because I got out in West Texas at a state park that had Wi-Fi. They had it. They sure did. And if I was, this was about 5 years ago, and if I'd have started uploading a page with some color photos on it when I arrived, they would probably just be uploading as we speak. I mean, it was so slow it was useless. Okay, so again, check on the Wi-Fi. And as far as what sites, you got them all over the state of Texas. The ones in Central Texas are pretty nice. The ones in West Texas are a little more remote, and so you probably won't have near as many people there. The ones in Central Texas around where I live, since I'm close to San Antonio, Austin, and possibly driving distance from Houston, these parks in my area, like Inks Lake State Park, you've got Garner State Park, which is a little west of me, and some others. But those can be very busy. But again, if you make reservations, you don't have a problem at all. And they don't. I don't think there is a reservation fee on the Texas State Park reservation system, but there may be. I haven't used it. I never do make reservations. I may start if I go, because I probably this year, for the first time in years, I may do some camping at the state parks in Texas. And what I'll do is I'll wait for those days during the week that are slow, like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are usually the really slow days. I mean, you could actually arrive on a Monday at most places and not be too crowded. But on the weekends, sometimes they can really get busy, particularly Inks Lake State Park, Garner State Park. I believe those are two of the busiest ones in the state of Texas. And the reason is they're pretty. The Inks Lake State Park's on a pretty lake, and there's some pretty hill country to drive around and some little towns to go check out. And Garner State Park's the same way. It's in the hill country of Texas, and the Frio River, what Frio in Spanish means cold. The Frio River runs through the park, and it's just a nice little crystal clear mountain stream, or not mountain stream, but it's just a spring-fed river that is very, very nice, and a lot of people go there to enjoy it. But having said that, for you people that are thinking about coming to Texas, the best time to be camping in Texas anywhere, and there's not a lot. In fact, I don't know of any BLM and stuff, Bureau of Land Management. They do have Corps of Engineer parks, and you might want to check on those because there are the ones that are in Texas, Corps of Engineer parks, are very nice, and their fees are very reasonable, and you can stay there by the month. What else? As to the time of year that would be most comfortable to be in the state of Texas, I would say possibly the end of October through maybe the end of March. All right, because the first part of October sometimes we can still be in the hundreds. You know, we can still be hot, and but by the end of October, I hope I said October, the beginning of October can be hot, but by the end of October it's usually pretty cool. And the beginning of March is certainly not too cold for enjoyment, but by the end of March, beginning in April and starting into May, it starts to warm up pretty quick, and by mid-May it's starting to get a little uncomfortable. But having said all that, I hope that helps somebody that's planning on camping in Texas and or camping in Texas. So anyway, having said that, thank you for all your comments. I checked the mail today, and there was nothing again. So well, the moth that flew out yesterday flew back in today, so I guess that worked out pretty well for the moth. But having said that, thumbs up, carpe diem, adios, bye bye bye. USA made when you can. Drink plenty of water. 3 or 4 quarts a day will not hurt you. It will help you avoid gout and kidney stones, and also can help you lose weight because you will feel full and you will not want to snack so much, and that's good for you. Take deep breaths, breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Do that several times a day. Why? Because it relieves stress. Relieving stress lowers your blood pressure, and lowering your blood pressure makes your little heart work less, and you will feel better and live longer, and that's what it's all about. The whole key is, I'm 72 years old. I've been full-time RVing for 25 plus years, or I've lived in an RV for 30 years, round numbers. And I've camped in a travel trailer. I've camped in a Toyota Prius off and on for 5 years. Right now I've got a pickup with a camper top on it, and I just spent 7 weeks camping in it. So, you know, going outdoors is something I really enjoy, but it wouldn't work if I didn't feel like it, if I didn't feel good. And again, the whole thing for me, and I hope for the rest of you guys, is, you know, focus a little more on eating right, number one, and eating less. You know, I know it's hard, you know, because I mean I could eat a plate full of Mexican food right now. I mean I'm telling you the truth. You know, you could give me 3 enchiladas and 2 tamales and 2 tacos and some refried beans and rice. I'd clean it, boy. I'd clean it up. But you know, you just have to take control of yourself and eat less. And you know, every now and then you can go do that. Every now and then, that's okay. You know, it's okay to go pig out every now and then. But you know, when you start doing it daily, that's when you become the Goodyear blimp. And so having said that, enjoy your day. Adios. Bye-bye. Keep your health. Adios.